What's up, guys? My name is Josh. This is a new segment called Hot Box Thoughts, where we're gonna be getting in-depth thoughts. I'm gonna be high, and Zico's not.
All right, Josh is gonna be in that tent, zipping it up, and that thing is airtight. He's gonna be smoking those blunts in that little tray he got right there, progressively getting higher and higher, while I sit right there and just talk to him completely sober. Let's see how it goes.
420.
Yes, sir, 420. All right, and this is Josh's little weed bar in the corner, and explain what we got for our selection
so
today,
what I
man.
got here? Well, first off, this is my beautiful weed bar. I got all these different little selections here. Pickle Rick, so smooth. So I got these little party packs. It's mixed with passion fruit, sativa, Captain Cake, indica, and it got blueberry cupcake hybrid.
What's up, everybody? It's another episode of Broken Bird Conversations, Hot Box Edition, aka Hot Box Thoughts. You know,
Hot box.
Josh is over there. You know, he's about to hot box that freaking tent.
Get my shit started, man.
Yep, and I'm over here, you know, on the couch sober. You know, that's a little unique dynamic. You know, that's how we do it. Before we get started, don't forget to check us out on all platforms: Broken Bird Conversations, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We're on everything. You know, if you want video, YouTube. If you want audio, you know, podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you don't want to watch a whole long 30-minute video, you can just watch our clips on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. So check us out on everything. Thanks. And I'm Seiko.
I'm Josh.
Josh over there.
Welcome to the Hot Box.
Yes. And what are you smoking today?
I actually don't remember the name of this. Oh wait, no, it's called Mindo something.
Is that Capital City?
It's Capital City Chronic, yeah.
Okay.
Always Capital City Chronic.
Mindo something. Is it indica?
It is actually pretty good. It's kind of it's supposed to be a heavy hitter. I know they said that. I smoked a few of them and I didn't really have anything happen, but it mellowed me out and made me super chill. So that is a positive. And then I like mixing it. When I mixed it with the hybrid, that was also Capital City Chronic. I feel like that helped balance me out. Pineapple Express. I always try to mix with Pineapple Express. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's called Mindo something. Yeah, it's highly recommended. They said it's a heavy hitter, but
indica,
yeah.
Hybrid, sativa?
It's an indica.
Indica.
Majority of the time I smoke indicas. I do experiment with like sativas and hybrids. But yeah, indica.
Why do you more so gravitate towards indica?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I have a lot of energy, and I think I burn through. Even when I get high, it's easy for me to get sober. But I feel like indicas help center me more, where I can find, I feel like it's my true self in a sense. Like I find how to interact properly. It's like it balances out my energy in some ways. But I have to do shit. If I smoke sativas and hybrids, they can have weird effects. Like some can make me too hyper, where I'm just like, I get paranoid, or I'll get in my head about stuff and my thoughts are even faster. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But mixing them, I like having either like a hybrid or a sativa to pair with a indica.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just life's an experiment, man. I always try to have fun, just see what it can do. Like, what does this one do to me? How about if I smoke? How many of these? What will it do? You know.
Yeah, I should probably do that too, but right now my situation is a little different. Yeah, maybe eventually I might get to that. But yeah, anyway, for this episode, we wanted to get into some Seattle history. For people that don't know, Seattle does have a kind of a little bit of a bad history when it comes to, like, you know, the living situation going on in Seattle. And what I mean by that is that there's been redlining that happened in the past.
And what is redlining, man?
Redlining, and before I even start, I want to say that me and Josh are not the most educated on this
We
topic.
are not.
We're here more so to talk about it and have a discussion about it, right?
No, because
so
I think
we're gonna get some things wrong. Don't get on us, okay? But overall, redlining is basically about how there were some neighborhoods, not only in Seattle, but they do this all over the country.
They do all, yeah.
Where they would have a certain group of people only live in this area, and another certain group of people only live in this area, so that they can segregate. Really, it's really like some segregation type stuff, you know? And what I mean by that is that, for example, in Seattle, there are some areas to this day that are more affluent and that the neighborhoods are more nice and everything around that area is more nice. And you can go to other parts of Seattle, and it's a lot more, not as nice, rough, low income, and all that, right? And that's due to the redlining that happened in the past. Because in the past, what happened, and again, I don't know all the details, but what happened was that they were only allow certain ethnicities to buy property in certain areas. That way they can keep this minority group in this area, and they can keep this other group in this area, And the way they did that is that, for example, if you're in a more affluent area, like more north, then if anybody that was like a minority that would try to buy property in that more affluent area, they would not allow them. Even if they straight up had the money in cash,
No, that's what
they
seems
would
fucked
not
up.
allow you to buy it just based on the fact that you're a minority, And that kind of causes a lot of generational stuff because that means that in these more affluent areas, they're going to keep having a wealth gap because in that areas, the kids are getting educated.
Yeah.
The parents are making money. And if there's more money in that area,
Oh, shit, it
then that
makes
means
sense.
more taxes are being made. So if more tax money is coming in, it's going to go to all the hospitals. So the hospitals have better equipment, have better staff, are open more. And it goes to the schools, so the schools can provide better education, provide resources for the kids and all that, right?
Yeah.
That's good for that area. But then you have the low income areas, they're kind of fucked because it's low income, so they're not even making that much money. So that means that last taxes or money is being made, and if there's less tax money, that means the hospitals aren't getting as funded, so they're probably short on supply. Maybe they don't have the most up-to-date technology, medicine, and then the schools aren't getting as funded as the affluent areas, so then that means that they probably aren't getting the best teachers.
No, they're pretty much getting everything secondhand.
You know what I mean? So it's just causing this big wealth gap. You know what I mean?
Well, what's crazy is, so I've been doing this shit lately with my wife, just running around, just seeing different parts of the city, just like, dreaming of where one day we might want to have a house just for fucking fun or whatever. But it's become like almost like a nightly thing or like at least a weekly thing we might do every once in a while. Well, what is weird, seeing some of the cities, some look crazy, like some different little parts, some are like fucking crazy fancy, and then you just drive a little bit past it, all of a sudden it's just shit, worn down, torn down homes. So like, what the fuck's going on? Like, it don't make sense where you just get these different areas, and the gaps are like the divide. Some are like millions of dollar houses, then you just drive a little bit down the road, and it's just like maybe a handful that are like 100,000 plus houses. Most of them are just run down, the neighborhood, the roads are bad. They're all right next to each other, and they're kind of intermixed. And then I think now looking at that map, I was judging the areas where I was driving around a lot. I'm like, holy shit, because I think we were pointing out that when we were talking about this morning. Mm-hmm. Those areas I was driving in, those are all the super super nice, but just as soon as you get out, you'll see it, and it's crazy. The divide it's drastic. It's not like, oh, a little bit different. No, it's like you'll see it, and then it's just, oh, these are poor people live here.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, because, like, for example, if you go to, like, Columbia City, that area is pretty nice, and it looks kind of safe to walk around.
Yeah.
But if not too far, like 10 minutes down the road, you go to Rainier Beach, it's a lot more dangerous and not as nice,
Yeah.
And they're just right next to each other.
Well, shit, you can even in Seattle, you go to Capitol Hill. There's the North Capitol Hill is fucking crazy different. Kurt Cobain's house used to be out there, the one he killed himself at. Shit's crazy old, crazy different. It definitely was old money, but then just driving through parts of Capitol Hill, Capitol Hill's, very, very diverse in different ways. Mm-hmm. But that divide just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, of course, now things are starting to mix more because
they're
not doing that anymore, but it was like that for a while. And it was crazy because one of the lead people that were part of the redlining was the owner of Boeing. I forgot what's his name.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading that.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
He was a part of it.
Yeah.
He was trying to keep minorities out from certain areas. He was like the main
guy. Of course.
Yeah, which is
people
crazy.
People are controlled, they'll try to control everything.
Yeah. And then from what I understand, again, we're not the most educated, so we might get some details wrong, but I think it even got to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that you can't do that. You can't prevent minorities from buying houses in certain areas just based on the fact that they're minorities, right?
Yeah.
And the way that people worked around that is they created covenants. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but
yeah, I remember you saying that word. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
From what I understand,
doesn't give a good feeling.
It was not a official thing, but it was more like word of mouth, where people would be like, hey, if we all live in this area, and if if a minority tries to buy a property here, don't sell it to them. So it's just like everyone in these nice areas just had this mutual agreement, like behind closed doors, under the table type stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to sell things to minorities, which is crazy, you know?
Which is, it's fucked up. I feel like that still goes on today.
Yeah.
It's not as, I don't think, as often, like you're saying, I mean, as far as I know, but just because I don't know how they could still get away with it, but coming from Texas, definitely still get away with this shit, 100%.
That happens in Texas?
Well, just even areas where I live, like, where my mom's has her property, if she moved her mailbox over just a little bit, maybe like 5 feet, she's in a different block, and like it'll raise the value of part of her property if she just had her mailbox on that side. But where she's at, she's in this lower income area, and it's just really bad. It's just like it's never gonna enhance like the amount you can get for acreage. It's pretty crappy, and I didn't understand that, and now I know why. It's like it's a part of that low income bad area. It's never gonna change, but the people that, I don't know how often it still goes on in Texas, but there are people that I know when they try to get property, stuff will pop up. Oh no, it's this, it's part of that. That's why it's gonna cost more. Like they'll raise the prices of stuff. Like, where's this money coming from? To me, it's like they're all in the same area, but they'll have like these made up things where, oh no, this part of the land, it's actually a part of this part, so you can't, it's gonna be this price for this. So I don't know how much that's actually real, or they're just making shit up when you're trying to investigate. I don't know.
I'm not sure how it is when it comes to Texas, but I know here in Seattle, it's a lot of
I feel like there's always someone out there trying to keep you down.
Yeah, something like that. And the thing that also is happening kind of currently is a lot of like, what's the word, like gentrification type stuff, because that's what happened to me and my family, because we were living in Beacon Hill in Seattle. If you're from Seattle, you know where Beacon Hill is at. And Beacon Hill used to be a lot of at least when I was growing up, had a lot of Asians, had a lot of Mexicans, you know, had a lot of diverse people.
Yeah.
Somalians too, I remember, or Somalis. I forgot what's the exact term for them. But
you being racist? What is that?
I'm not being racist.
Oh.
No, Somalis people.
These call them Somalis?
I forgot. I forgot which one's the correct term. But anyway, a lot of diverse people.
Yeah.
Right? But then nowadays it's not as diverse because all the rent and everything went up hella. Because I remember me and my family were living in an apartment in Beacon Hill, and eventually we had to.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, eventually we had to move out of that apartment because the rent kept going up and up and up so much that it made no sense to keep living there. Because you could. The cost for rent for an apartment in Beacon Hill was the same as like getting a mortgage on a house in Renton, for example. So we moved out to a house in Renton instead because we got pushed out due to the rent prices going up.
No, that's happening everywhere, even in Texas, but it's here for sure. Like, shit's so expensive, and you don't have to. You just have to be a little close to Seattle, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know, and
they only want certain people to live here for sure.
Yeah, Seattle's definitely like, I think on just statistic wise, one of the most expensive cities to live in.
That's pretty up there. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. I understand it, but gosh damn.
Yeah, I think it's all the tech and stuff. You know,
yeah.
It's attracting all people to come here.
It really is.
And pushing out the natives and everything.
Well, not only that, it's just like, I feel like that's what happens in all these cities. Like, you just end up driving out the force that makes a city a city. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, it's like all the culture gets ate away. I don't get why it's going. I've seen it. Capitol Hill's going to change. Look how it is right now.
Yeah, Central District.
Yeah.
What happened to the Central District? Because I was watching a video yesterday where it said like back then it used to be like 80% like African Americans, and now it's like 14%.
Damn.
Within like 50 years or whatever. Yeah. You know, so it's like things are changing drastically and fast before you know it, and then now I'm thinking like, damn man, Seattle's definitely different. Because I now stay more in Renton, Kent. You know, I only go to Seattle to record this podcast and work. But every time I come to Seattle, I'm like, oh shit, it's different now. Because now I see all these apartments everywhere. Yeah. There weren't all these apartments when I was growing up. Like, I went to go eat with my girl at this pho restaurant in Jackson Street called Pho Back. It's a good restaurant. Check it out.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. We should go one time. And there's so many apartments there now. When I was growing up, there was no apartments there. But now it's like everywhere you go, you like back then you would see the city, the skyline and everything, right? But now so much of the view is blocked due to all these apartment buildings being everywhere. It's insane how there's more that keep cropping up.
No,
And
it's just it's kind of scary a little bit.
I know, but I guess it's just a reality. But like, I don't know what to do about it. Cause I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Cause like the people that made Seattle are getting pushed out,
Well,
and now you're getting all these other people.
that's what actually made me want to come here. I mean, I feel like it was kind of a lie, but because I know the artsiness that I saw like Seattle was, it kind of spun, I guess, more when the Kurt Cobain shit was going on, the grunge scene was happening. I feel like a lot more of the art scene I thought was here because I feel like a lot was birthed during that time, and they died, obviously. I think when tech started coming in, it kind of just killed all that. When I was talking to people, Portland became the new art scene. And then if you go to Olympia, I think that still is what I think old Seattle must have felt like. I don't know, but that's still losing. Look how far shit got spread. It was in Seattle at one point like that, and then just boof. And then Olympia is probably the closest that has that resemblance of it. And then how much further is that going to spread?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I will say what might help is the light rail. That might help ease the cost of shit because you don't have to live downtown but you can still work downtown, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd say right now I don't want to live downtown anymore. Like I like living down here, but it's shit's crazy sometimes.
Yeah. Not only all this other stuff we're talking about, things are kind of going to shit in the city due to the fact that there's a crazy homeless problem and drug problem. Like I follow 2 Seattle pages. One is called Dub C Music, and the other one's called Seattle Submissions. And like I swear to God, every day or every other day, there's videos on there of like fights going on, shootings going on, homeless people harassing people, people on the streets doing drugs. I saw this video of there's a school. I forgot what was the school, but there's a school, and then literally across the street, there's homeless people shooting drugs, and then the kids are getting off of school, just walking past them. Like nothing, because they're used to it.
Yeah, used to it. They just become like...
I'm used to it, man.
People, I feel like that's what happens is... I was literally just driving by a school the other night and the same shit. I'm like, how the fuck is all this stuff going on? And kids just walking by, kids just chilling, like there were people out of Starbucks just chilling, drinking drinks. There's a dude, he just woke up from the bench, shirtless, stumbling around, and then he just collapsed near this wall over here. And there's kids with their backpacks just waiting for the bus. I'm like, people, they end up homeless or whatever. These people that are this fucked up, or that's how they're living, are existing, and they just feel like they become part of the scenery. You know, they don't exist to these people anymore. They're just literally just and that's crazy.
Speaking from my experience, I grew up here, right?
Yeah,
I've been seeing that since I was a kid. I remember riding the metro with my aunt as a kid, going to downtown Seattle, and I looked across the street at the other bus stop, and there was like a homeless guy pulled down his pants and just started taking a piss.
Oh yeah,
that's just normal to me. You know? And you see that all the time. Every time we went to downtown Seattle as a kid.
Shit, I can just put a camera in my alley right now. There's so much shit that happens out there.
It's like we already know where we're gonna see, you know. Yeah. Or like when we go to Chinatown and we ride the bus, we know that when we pass under the bridge, it's gonna smell like piss. We're just used to that, you know. So I'm just used to that shit. And the thing that surprises me is I feel like there's not a lot of coverage about this in Seattle because, for example, California is going through the same shit.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about the prices going up, the homeless problem, the drug problem, but Seattle's going through the same exact thing.
Yeah, I will say when I was in LA just for a little bit for my job I used to have, and I was just like maybe 2 years ago, it was probably the worst I've ever seen in homeless city. And now that I live in Seattle, it's still that what I saw back then is probably even worse now. You know, because that was during COVID. I was there, so it was already it was probably like 2021 or 2020-ish, somewhere around there, and it was bad. But we have it bad here. It's just ours is more like kind of spread out bad. Theirs is condensed where it's like I don't understand how it's like this. I think Seattle kind of had those little homeless cities, which we have a couple here.
Tent City.
Yeah, Tent City. I think there's some I've seen. They may have already gotten taken down. But
I've seen Tent City by where I used to live.
Yeah.
And there's a sign outside the entrance that said Tent City 3. So I'm like, okay, is this the third one that's in existence, or is this the third time they reconstructed it?
I'm assuming that
it's gone now.
Yeah.
So maybe Tent City 4 is gonna pop up.
Well, I will say what I've seen with the police. All they do with the homeless, they'll be in the area for a bit and then they'll clear it out, and that shit they will not be back there for like a few months. But the homeless will end up in Pioneer Square for a while, and then that's it. They literally closed the 7-Eleven when they last cleared them out. That everything's drive out every fucking day, and that homeless to be doing drugs every fucking day, just right there, passed out, all fucked up. They cleared that out, and pretty much Pioneer Square is only at night. There's a little bit in the main square part of it. where they had that cool little 1800s thing. Anyway, but it used to be so much worse. I guess a couple of years ago, that looked like what LA kind of looked like. I saw pictures of it online.
Okay.
So obviously they cleared that out, and now it's starting to get like that again. People are starting to put tents up in the area. So I don't know why they do that, but there's something. They said the only way they'll get rid of it, they just move them around. So they just get shifted to all these different parts of Seattle. Just over the years, that's it. That's also, and I'm like, that's a continual cycle, and it's like we're coming back to the Pioneer Square one again.
That's crazy.
I don't understand it. That's the only way they know how to solve it. They just shift it.
It just seems like Seattle's going through crazy stuff.
I feel like the world's going through crazy stuff. Really, anybody.
Or like Chop. You know about Chop, right? You want to hear a funny story?
Chopped.
Chop, Capitol Hill.
Oh.
Block.
Yeah.
A crazy story is that I recently did an interview for a job in Capitol Hill, and the guy that was interviewing me told me a story about Chop.
Oh shit.
Because the funny thing is, when Chop happened, Chop was basically like this very, like, how would you describe it? It was like this area in Capitol Hill that had no police. It was just governed by the people, right? And they had people with weapons, and it was like kind of like really chaos, you know?
Yeah.
And what's funny is this job is located in Capitol Hill. So when the guy that interviewed me, every day when he would go to work, he would have to pass through Chop, and there would be guards there that would have to let him through. And he said one day it would be a woman in a wheelchair, and the next day it's like a guy with a shotgun, and he has to like talk to him to be let through so he can go to his job and work, right?
Fuck.
Which is crazy. And then on top of that, the job that I applied to, they have, delivery from UPS, FedEx, and all this, right, for inventory and all this. The guys that were working UPS did not want to go through Chop.
Yeah.
So they would have to like negotiate, like, come on, guys, it's safe, just come in, we need our shit,
Oh my
so
god.
it's crazy to hear an actual story from a guy that went through that.
Yeah.
Shit. And
you should get him on the podcast.
I know, you have to go through your 9 to 5.
Damn.
But you have to go through fucking Chop, And then what's funny also is this job that I applied to.
God, I wish Christian would talk more about that shit because he was in there. I'm like, dude, you were there. He's like, oh, I'm like, you have a lot more information to tell me.
I think he doesn't want to.
I know. I know he doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm just get it.
But what's funny also is the outside of the building of the job I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. It has a graffiti everywhere, right? And I thought that was the aesthetic. I thought that was like on purpose. But I was talking with the guy. He's like, nah, this happened during Chop. They graffitied their whole building. I was like, oh shit, my bad. I was like,
oh, this was great.
I thought this was a mural that you guys commissioned or some shit. But nah, they just got graffitied the fuck up.
Damn.
So yeah, that was crazy. Dude.
I didn't realize a lot of the graffiti I'm seeing is probably from that then.
Maybe.
Damn. It's pretty interesting.
Well, there's always been graffiti all over.
Why there is.
Yeah.
I just been driving around. I just tried to pay attention to some of those areas. I didn't know all that went down when I came to Seattle. I had no, but I don't pay attention. I was literally not on anything, online. So like, I heard about that. I'm like, damn, was it that bad? I'm like, what the fuck?
Pretty crazy. Man.
Yeah, that's like literally they own part of the city for how long was that going on? Like a month or 2 months?
I don't know, man, because there was so much going on in the world.
It was.
I kind of didn't want to look at it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's like people, and then I'm like, it sounds like a whole block was just that was theirs.
Yeah, that was it.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Which is crazy, like anarchy.
But I feel like that's how Seattle's always been like that. Because even in the past, the underground, you've heard about that. That was like a thing where it was like a whole crime shit going on there for a long time. I think I don't know when they closed it down, but I know they used to have that was like a lot of the first gay clubs were a part of the underground, and it was like those secret things. You went to the underground a little bit with one of the things where we watched Sophie's. That was part of the underground. If you kept walking, it goes deep, like caverns under there. Yeah, that's a little basement of it, and then it's entrance to all that stuff.
To give some context, me and Josh went to an art show.
Yeah.
And where was it at in Seattle?
Pioneer Square.
Pioneer Square.
That's where all this underground's at.
We went like into this building and went downstairs underground to see this art show, but apparently there was more to it. Because
Cat Slash was exploring it. He was telling about, I was like, yeah, they're all connected. Like the whole block's connected. So
we should do like a vlog or something.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And I went on a tour. Apparently, there's different tours because they only have access to different parts. So there's some buildings that aren't connected. They don't want people to know what they're doing, and you can't hear anything. That's what they tell on the tour. You couldn't hear anything at all. So people could be screaming. You ain't hearing shit. It's because it's deep. Yeah. I'm like. And this was apparently going on back in the 1800s when this shit was built, like 1890. They finally finished it where they raised the level, and that's where the bad crime shit started really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Yeah. I know there's a lot of underground, behind-the-scenes stuff going in Seattle, like even in Chinatown, from what I heard back in the day, there's a lot of, like, gangs and stuff going
Yeah.
on. I think I had a cousin that got jumped or
Oh,
stabbed
shit.
or I don't know what happened in Chinatown. Yeah, it used to be really dangerous.
Well, I know like Pioneer Square. That's where they used to Shanghai people.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Which is fucking crazy. So I feel like because that's all the oldest part. So I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like you ever seen the movie New York Gangs or Gangs in New York?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I feel like there was parts of Seattle that were like that at one point. Some kind of like, weird, crazy shit. I don't know if there's movies about that. I'd be interested to read some stories, but just the shit that you hear. If you ever go on one of those tours, I would highly recommend that.
You should.
Yeah,
You should document
it's interesting. Yeah, I can bring a little gimbal. We just walk around, interview people.
I don't think there's videos of that online. So
There's a little bit, not very well. Like you can tell that's like they're just using their phone camera, but that's when I realized, oh, my tour was. I didn't look at this stuff. This was completely different than mine. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I thought they all were the same. Because they were telling they only have access to certain ones, and there is a bar that uses their underground, so that's pretty cool. So they have like a club and then another club inside the club.
It's operating till this day.
Yeah, it's. I think they said Nirvana played there a few times.
That's
so yeah,
history right there.
yeah. So it's worth. I haven't gone to it. I've been wanting to go to it.
Oh,
It's hard to find. You have to. It's like one of these ones on the streets. You kind of have to walk around it.
I see.
Like the one we were trying to find that one time when we tried to see Sophie Show. How complicated that was. Yeah. It's they have these weird entrances.
Huh. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, Seattle has some cool shit, but it was like I wish the buildings would do more with them. Is that's such a cool thing to have, and it has old storefronts still on it.
Really?
The original storefronts and windows is still there. It's all just left. It's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
A lot of it was used for crime.
Yeah.
A lot of it was used for a lot of crime.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
dirty stuff in Seattle that I wouldn't be surprised to find out about. Because again, I think there were like some Asian gangs back in the day in Chinatown, so I wouldn't doubt there's like some mafia shit.
Yeah. Something. I know that there was a building that we had that's out there, some famous hotel that was built. It was with embezzlement money.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of just crime in general. Just Seattle is just it feels like Las Vegas or something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we just had a lot of people that founded it that were just I don't know.
That's why I want to do this podcast because a lot of people aren't aware of all the shit in Seattle.
Yeah.
Everything is just nice.
It's beautiful, yeah. Microsoft, yeah.
Amazon, Starbucks. It's like, nah, man. If you move here, there's a lot of shit going on. Even to this day, there's a lot of fucking crime.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's happening as much now, but for a good stretch, a lot of like dispensaries were getting robbed, and they would get robbed in the most craziest ways. Like a guy will crash a car into the dispensary.
No, I saw that video.
And they will rush and grab everything. You know? That's why now if you go to dispensaries, there's always security.
Always. All right, that makes sense. Armed, yeah. I was wondering. There's like some with like they got zips. The dude he has a vest on and shit, and they used to have a couple people, and that's fucking terrifying.
Like there's a one called Buddies in like Renton, and at the front, there's a guy with a freaking gun.
Yeah.
Right there, 'cause there's like shit going down. But
Damn.
Seattle. A lot of shit happening here, man.
As I said, I feel like it's just ingrained in it, so it's like no matter what, it's always gonna be a part of Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
it's its own.
I'm like curious, what's the future of Seattle, man? It's just gonna become.
I don't know.
Culture's gonna be gone 20 years from now.
Well, hey,
I'm getting pushed out.
It is, and I'm hoping to do something about that. Where I'm hoping to eventually be a part of something that brings art and culture back to Seattle. I feel like it needs that. Tech is great; it's a part of it now, so we can't get rid of it. That's a part of Seattle.
Yeah.
But there's also other parts that aren't being shined anymore. They're not even looked at. Like people need to see that shit, the grittiness and the there's a love and hate with it for some reason. But it's a part of it. Don't try to hide it. Seattle's fucked up. Let's just embrace it. I don't know, but I feel like if they can somehow bring that art and culture back. I know they want it. Obviously, I have all these badass museums. I don't know if you've ever been to that. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. But it's that one museum.
Seattle Art Museum?
No, not the art museum, but it's the one that's like the pop and music and pop museum.
Probably heard of it, but
Yeah.
I haven't been.
The building looks crazy. So I mean, it's just like obviously they want to have a culture like that. It's just not really. I don't know. It feels like it's always been pushed out. Like you said, the gentrification shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just trying to push out a certain thing. Even here, things are getting so much more expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's just I think that's just the whole world. Unfortunately, I don't know what's the future of the world. Yeah, because I do believe things balance out.
People gotta get passive income, man. We gotta figure shit out.
Yeah, I know, but that's just Seattle. I mean, I hope that this podcast becomes something Seattle-wise, and maybe we can use it to promote shit. You know, that's my goal.
Get some free weed. No,
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Speaking
But yeah,
of this
for sure.
podcast, that's the end of this podcast. It's just pretty much just 30 minutes of us talking about Seattle and all that to inform people, you know, because there's not a lot of Seattle outlet medias, you know. There's only like those 2 Instagram pages.
I've
but
noticed
when it comes
that.
to like YouTube, there's no YouTubers or anything like that. You
No,
know?
and that's what's weird. I feel like because when I came to Seattle, I had such a different idea of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I've known about it. Like iCarly, that's supposed to be in Seattle. You know, there's a lot of different TV shows that are supposed to be based in Seattle. Hopefully, maybe since Last of Us is getting really picked up, I know it's not going to be filmed in Seattle. The game is supposed to be based in Seattle.
Maybe that'll bring more awareness.
It might,
maybe.
you know, it might pop something up.
Maybe, yeah. But
I don't know.
I'm trying to do my own shit, you know. Anyway,
For sure.
Thanks for watching. Another episode of Bourbon Bear Conversations. I'm Seiko.
I'm Josh.
Peace.
Peace.